Hello. I'm the Linux Mench. So I booted into my new Arch install. It's a basic install. So I'm going to log in. I'm going to create a user and install some apps and configuration files. So because there's no user yet, I have to log in as root. I'm going to type in root. I'm going to type in the password I gave it earlier when I did the installation. And as you can see, I'm in root. So now I'm going to create a user. And I'm going to type in these commands. User, add, space, mg, space, wheel, mench. I'm going to hit enter. So now I'm going to give mench a password. I'm going to type in the word passwd. Remember, you don't type in the whole word password. You leave out the R, the O and the R. So it's passwd. I'm going to leave a space. I'm going to type in my name, Mench. I'm going to hit enter. New password. I'm going to type in my password. Going to ask me to type it in again. And the password's been changed. And before I log out and log into my user Mench, I am going to make sure the sudoers file is correct. So I'm going to, so that Mench will have root access and the ability to download files, software, and update. So I'm going to type in vim c sudoers, and I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to scan down now to here. And this line, I'm going to delete the number sign. Remember, as I mentioned earlier before, that any line that has a number sign in front of it, in the configuration files, the system ignores. So I'm going to delete the number sign, which is going to activate the line. And because I made Mench part of the wheel group, it's going to give Mench sudo privileges. So I'm going to delete this number sign. I'm just going to delete the space. I'm going to save the file. Right click. And the file has been written. So now I'm going to log out of root and log in as Mench. I'm going to type in my name, Mench, enter. I'm going to type in my password, and there. Now I'm no longer logged in as root, I'm logged in as Mench. Now I just want to see if there's any updates to do. So I'm going to type in, plus I want to see if my sudo privileges have been activated. So I'm going to type in sudo pacman, capital S, Y, YU. Whoop, I guess I need to learn how to type. I'm going to type in my password. And there's 2 updates to do. I'm going to hit enter. And it's going to update the system. Now my system is updated since I did my install. And there's a couple of changes I want to make. First, I'm going to go into sudo etc pacman conf. And that didn't work because I missed a command here. I want to put vim in. And I want to jump down to uncomment a couple of things in here. So I want to uncomment, there's a verbose package list. So when I'm doing my downloads, it lists everything in columns rather than in a paragraph form. And I also want to uncomment the next line, parallel downloads. So when my downloads will come down faster because it will do 5 at a time. So I'm going to uncomment that. So all I've done is activated those 2 lines. I'm going to save the file. And I'm out. So another thing I want to do is create a configuration folder in my user. So I'm just going to hit ls-a to make sure it's not there, and it's not. So these are files that are in my home directory. So I'm going to say, I'm going to make a directory called .config. So mkdir space period config. Now I'm going to type in ls-a, and you can see I've made a directory called .configs, or sorry, .config. There's no S on the end of it. And also something I want to do is I want to install Git, because I have configuration files stored in the cloud in my GitLab repository. So I'm going to download those files, and it'll make it easier to do this post installation of Arch Linux. So I'm going to do sudo pacman s git. And these are the packages it's downloading. Hit yes, and it's downloading them. Now what I want to do is, now at this point you can install your own software if you want. And the way you would do that would be, let's say you wanted to install Firefox as your web browser, you would type in sudo pacman s Firefox. Hit enter, answer yes, and it would install Firefox for you. But I'm not going to do that because I have configuration files which have all the apps that I want and use when I do an installation. And I'm just going to pull those configuration files down from my GitLab repository and install everything quickly and easily. So I'm going to erase this. So now I'm going to type in the command to pull down my GitLab repository. I'm going to type in git clone gitlab.com/archibus1/Mench. Now, if I typed in the command right, it should download it. And there it is. It just downloaded my repository. And you can do this too. You're free to use my files. You're free to download them. You just have to type in the command that I typed in over there. So now I'm going to CD into it. CD Mench. And let's see what's in there. And do ls-a. So this is showing all the directories and files that are in there. And I'm just going to show you all the apps that I'm downloading if you use this configuration file, and I'm going to use it. So I just want to give you an idea of what I'm downloading. So I'm going to do type in cat auto. Now this is not going to install it. And I typed that wrong. Auto. So I'm typing in cat auto app.sh, and it's going to show you what's in that file. It won't run it. It's just going to. So as you can see, this is showing you what's inside the file. And when you cat something in the terminal, you can see what's in the file, but you can't make any changes to it, and there's no danger of altering it by accident. And as you can see, these are all the apps that I'm going to install. And you can manually type these in, or maybe there's only a few of them that you want. You're free to type in, manually install all these by typing in pacman s and the name of the file. And actually you would have to do sudo pacman and the name of the file. But instead, I'm going to run this configuration file, and it's going to automatically install everything. I'm going to type in the command /auto. I'm going to hit my tab key to complete it. So it's /auto app /sh. Gonna ask me for my password. I'm gonna hit enter, enter again. And now it's installing all these apps. I'm gonna hit enter for yes. And it's installing these apps. This is probably gonna take 3 minutes, at the most 5, but it probably won't be that long. As I said earlier in another video, Pacman is the fastest package manager available in Linux. And if I'm wrong, you are free to correct me on that. So it's installing 474 packages. There we go. It's finished downloading all the apps. And now I'm going to run another configuration file to install certain things and put the configuration files where they're supposed to be and change some of the setups. So I'm just going to show you what's in the directory again, ls-a, and I'm going to run this file. On the far right, there's a file called runconfigs.sh. I'm going to run them. And before I run them, I'm going to show you what's in there. So I'm going to cat it, run config. So this is what's in the file. It's going to put certain configuration files into their correct place, and it's also going to set up my firewall. So I'm going to run the file. So /run, and I'm just going to hit my tab button to complete it. I'm going to hit enter, and there it goes. It's finished. So now I'm going to run another command just to make sure my firewall is active. Sudo uncomplicated firewall UFW status. And you can see my firewall is now active. Now I'm going to reboot the system just to make sure everything is functioning properly. So I'm rebooting into the system again. And this is my light DM. So as you can see, that's my username, Mench. Here's where I put my password in. And on this little hamburger grid here, we have the option of logging into the Cinnamon desktop environment, Qtile Window Manager, or Awesome Window Manager. So I'm going to log into Awesome Window Manager. Let's just make sure it was clicked on properly, and it was. I'm going to click on here and type in my password. And there we are. We are in the Awesome Window Manager. Now this Awesome Window Manager has my own configuration in it, my own wallpaper, and it's not really my own. I downloaded it from the web, but it's a wallpaper I use. And as you can see, the bar is on the bottom. These are my desktop, my different desktops. Here's the time and date, and I'm just going to hit a refresh there. So it's a little larger now. So if you downloaded Awesome Window Manager straight from the repository without my configuration files, this is the way it would look like. This would be the wallpaper. Your bar is on the top, and notice it's very small, fine print. These are your different workspaces up here. And if you right click on the menu, there's hardly anything in it. So the menu doesn't have the apps that we installed. Now the apps are there. All the software is there, but they're not showing up in the menu. Also, you notice the date and time is small. And anyways, this is the way it looks like. This is bare Awesome Window Manager. But it looks like this because this is my own configuration of it. So, as you can see, we have the menu. Let's type in, click on Firefox and see if it opens. There we have. Now there's another thing I want to do, and something I forgot to do when we're in the terminal. So what I want to do is change my password file so that when I log in, instead of using the bash, I want to use ZSH. So what I'm going to do is type in sudo vim etc password without the O and without the R. And I'm going to go to the end of the first line and delete that word bash and type in zesh. And then I'm going to go to my user password. And again, so if you see I'm on the line number 17 where it says Mench at the beginning, and at the end it says bash, I'm going to delete that and type in dash. I'm going to right click it, save the file. Quit out of there. I'm going to quit out of Awesome Window Manager. And I'm going to log back in. Put my password in. Let's refresh it so everything is nice and large. You got the time, the date, my different workspaces. And I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to hit the super key and enter to open the terminal. There you have it. We are now in ZSH rather than bash. So here we have it. Let's type in, let's click on Firefox. There's Firefox. PCMan FM. This is my file manager. Now there are a couple things I want to do. I want to hold the Windows key down, or the super key, and I want to hold it down and hit P. I want to type in the word power and click on that. So I'm going to change this display. I'm going to put these to 0 because I don't like the system turning off my machine or putting it to sleep. And now I'm going to change my system to a dark theme. I'm going to hold the super key down or the Windows key and hold it down and hit P and type in custom. I'm going to go there. I'm going to click on Materia Dark and icon theme Papyrus. Apply it and close that window. So now let's call up my file manager. I'm just going to use my mouse. I'm going to call up PCMan FM, and now we have a dark theme. This is my file manager. I can open up this folder. And actually, it wasn't I clicked on the wrong one. So I'm going to hold the numbers. I'm going to hold the super key down and hit P, custom. And what I like is the icon theme to be Papyrus Dark. Apply, close it. So now I'm going to call up my file manager. Let's open up this folder, and there you have it. I have another file manager here called Nemo, and it's a little different. Looks kind of the same, but it's a little different. And we have Rhythmbox. This is a program I use to listen to music. This is my spreadsheet program. Okay, I'm going to go down to Tools, Options, View. I'm going to change this to Breeze Dark. Apply it, and there's my spreadsheet program. I'm going to close that. This is LibreOffice. You can make this a light theme, but I like the dark theme. Here is my Word document program, LibreOffice, and so forth. Now I'm going to log out and log into Qtile. Click it on. Let's make sure it's clicked on. And now this is what Qtile looks like if you download and install it without my configuration file. The bar is on the bottom. The workspaces on the bottom left are small and hard to read. What you see on the right is the way it looks like. It comes without wallpaper, black screen, and this is the way it looks. There's no key bindings there. So when I configure Qtile, for instance, the Super or Windows key, if you hold it down and type in the F, Firefox will come up. And I have all kinds of other fast key bindings programmed into my configuration file for Qtile, but this is the way it looks. And this is Qtile. Now it looks similar to my awesome window manager because I configured it to be that way. Now in Qtile, the mouse doesn't work, so you have to know all the key bindings, and I programmed my own key bindings in. So if I hold down the Super key and hit F, I'm going to open up Firefox. And there you have it. There's Firefox. So I'm going to log out of here, and I'm going to log into Cinnamon. Now I'm going to load up the Cinnamon desktop environment. Type in my name, my password. Now when Cinnamon loads up, you're going to see it's kind of ugly. So I'm going to change things to the way I like it to be. With the Cinnamon desktop, it's a full desktop environment. It's what the Linux Mint people created, and you can download the Cinnamon desktop pretty much in any Linux distribution that you're using. And with this desktop environment, it's very similar to older style of Windows. And you don't have to write or change configuration files. You just click on things and they change. So first thing I'm going to do is change the display. I'm going to go to 1920 by 1080, apply. Keep the configuration. I'm going to go into fonts, change this to bold, and it's at 9. Let's go up to 12. Select, enter. I'm going to change the time and date settings. I'm going to change that to network time. Oh, it's asking me for my password. I'm going to take off the 24-hour clock. I'm going to type in the display date. Okay, so now I'm in system settings, and I'm going to click on themes. And I'm going to download. I'm going to add and remove themes. I'm going to download all the latest themes. And I'm going to type in this theme I like. Adara Dark, that's the theme I like. So I'm going to download it. I'm going to go back here. Oops, clicked on the wrong thing there. I'm going to click it on, going to click it on. Now we have a dark theme. And it changed the icons to Papyrus Dark. And I'm going to go back here and I'm going to make the fonts just a little larger. Change it to 13. I'm going to go out of there. Now I'm going to go into Power Manager because I want the Power Manager to be turned off for my when I'm logged into the Cinnamon desktop. I'm going to go into Screensaver and turn that off too. Now we turned it off for when we're in Awesome and Qtile, but it's not turned off for when we're in Cinnamon, so I'm turning them off. Turn that off. You can leave them on, that's up to you. It's really a matter of preference. And what else do I want to do? I think that's pretty well it. There's your volume control. Yes, I want to install my weather app. I'm going to go to the bottom of the screen. Applets. Download. And this configuration I'm making to the Cinnamon desktop is the same changes I made in my last video when I made configurations to my Linux Mint. If you watch my Linux Mint video, because Linux Mint team are the people that made the Cinnamon desktop, so I made the same changes in there as I did here. It looks pretty much the same. Only this is Arch Linux running the Cinnamon desktop rather than Linux Mint. So I'm going to download my weather app. I'm going to go click on Manage. Click on Weather App. Hit the plus sign to add it. Close the window. I'm going to click on here. I'm going to click on Configure. I will enable my minute forecast. I'm going to change the 48 hours to 26 because that's just the way I like it. I don't need all those hours in there. And now I'm going to close it. So you can see it's 1 degree Celsius. Shows you the winds, the temperature, shows you what's going to be tomorrow and Monday. You can click that on and you can click on your hourly weather. Now another thing I want to do is change the desktop background, the wallpaper. So you right click anywhere on the screen and I'm going to change desktop background. Let's make that larger. Now they give you some wallpapers here you can use. That's not that great looking, but it's there. You're free to download your own wallpaper. Let's try that one. So the wallpapers here aren't as nice as the ones in Linux Mint, but they're there and you're free to download anything you want. Now, we have wallpapers in the system that I gave. If you use my configuration files, let's see if we can find them. Let's go to Home and let's go to Home. Let's open up. There you go. Let's click on that and let's see if it worked. And there we have it. This is Arch Linux with the Cinnamon desktop. We have let's close this. We have Firefox here. We have our file manager here. We have our settings page here. And one of my dark theme is not working and I don't know why. I have it on a dark. Let's change that. There you go. So now my dark theme is on. Let's try that again. Here's my file manager. Here's the settings page where you go to change all your settings. I also have Firefox up here. And so this is more like a traditional desktop environment. It's called Cinnamon Desktop. If you don't want something pinned there, you can unpin it. Let's say I want to pin my spreadsheet program there. You just right click it, add to panel. And now it's on the panel. Let's click it on. There's my spreadsheet. So this is Arch Linux with the Cinnamon Desktop. You can lock it. I have to type in my password to get back in, and so forth. Now let's say I want to log out of there. Log out. Hit the hamburger menu up here, and I can log into my awesome window manager. Type in my password. Now I'm logged into Awesome. Let's just make everything a little larger. And here we're in Awesome. I want to do an HTOP. Let's do an HTOP. So as you can see, the system's been running since the last time I rebooted it. It's been running for 23 minutes. I gave it 4 processors because I'm running Arch Linux on a virtual machine. You can see there's 4 processors. I gave it 4 gigs of RAM. It's running on 226 megabytes of RAM to use the system. So I'm going to log out. Also, too, you can run the menu from the bottom here. Let's go into PCman FM, or you can run it anywhere, right-click anywhere in here. Now, what I just want to show you one more thing before I finish the video. Let's quit. Let's call up the hamburger menu. Let's go back into the Cinnamon Desktop. Put our password in. Just going to take a second to load up, and here we are. We are in the Cinnamon Desktop. You have your volume control here. Let's go into HTOP. So as you can see, when I'm running the Cinnamon Desktop environment, out of my 4 gigs of RAM, it's using 567 megabytes. It's a little darker here because I have a dark theme set in the Cinnamon Desktop environment. You can see it's running 545 megabytes out of my 4 gigs of RAM, which is still pretty good. At work, I'm using Windows 10, and when I'm running that, with no applications opened up, just with the Windows running, it's using about 2.5 gigs of RAM. So this is still pretty light. Cinnamon Desktop, it's using 545 megabytes of RAM out of my 4 gig of RAM. But if we log out of there, and let's log back into my awesome window manager, type in my password, reset so you have everything nice and large. Right click on the menu, let's hit HTOP. Now see here, the awesome window manager uses a lot less RAM. Out of my 4 gigs of RAM, it's running on 250 megabytes. That's amazing. That is so low. You want to click on Firefox. Anyways, I just want to thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to hit that button and subscribe to my channel. I am the Linux Mench.